I know. I still haven't shortened it. It's end of the month, and I am helping so many people save so much money that I have not gotten to shorten that.
That's fine. That's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
I'm reminded of my flux capacitor every time I see that.
Yeah, I'm just going to shorten. I don't think I'm going to change the video. I'm just going to shorten it maybe a little bit. Thank you for being here. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this great Friday. Plug back in with Justin. You got Kimberly's Corner, then you got Justin's plug back in. Fridays are becoming like the best day of the week. Thank you for being here, Justin.
I'm thrilled to be here. Yeah, we got some exciting news to talk about today, don't we?
Yeah. So, headline news, Tesla said, take this, Texas, and moved back to California. Sort of.
Take this? Was it a wad of cash? Is that what they had to take?
I think Tesla may have taken a wad of cash to come back.
Yeah.
No details on that. Nobody knows for sure. But Tesla is moving their headquarters back here to California, to Palo Alto. They're actually in the old HP building in Palo Alto.
Wait. Isn't it the engineering headquarters, or is that like the headquarters?
The engineering headquarters, the global engineering headquarters. So they're going to be controlling engineering for everybody in Germany, China, everybody. But they're coming back. So that's great to see them back in here. Tesla is now the largest manufacturer in the state of California, and employs the most manufacturing employees in the state of California. So always happy to have more people back here and bringing in some revenue and being able to see all the advancements, like that car behind you there, Justin, driving around on the California roads and trying to figure it out. I know we saw a Cybertruck with its new air suspension the other day in Palo Alto too. Can
I ask a silly question? As the
more largest, than anybody I know, Ray.
All my questions are silly. As the largest manufacturing employer by employees in California, do we have any idea how their pay for those employees stack up to other auto manufacturers around the country? Just out of curiosity.
I know they are not a unionized company, but I know they pay above average union wages, but I don't know. I don't have the exact figures, but you know what? I will dig that up. And I think that is something that maybe we can talk about on Monday with Kimberly, Ray.
Okay.
That is a good point, because I would like to look that up, and I don't want to give any false sense to anybody on the stream, because I don't know the facts on that.
And the only reason I ask is I can't tell you the number of times I've seen comments on some of our videos from Ford employees, manufacturing employees, who say, I build these damn trucks, but I couldn't afford to buy one. I have to look at other vehicles to buy one. And I wonder if the same might hold case for Tesla employees when it comes to building the various Teslas. Can they afford to actually buy one?
Well, I will say that as these Teslas are built in Palo Alto, which is part of the Bay Area, they get paid very well, but whether they have enough money to afford a car, I don't know, because their rents are outrageous, and along with everything else.
Gotcha.
So I bet their take-home pay is a lot, but compared to cost of living, I don't know.
I think I figured out why Tesla's doing this. I bet it's because they just have so many engineering lateral transfers that they're going to move from Twitter to Tesla.
You think they're going to move the Twitter people over?
Yeah,
I mean, they got rid of 75% of them. So
now they're going to do lateral transfer under the kingdom of Elon Musk to Tesla. There you go.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a good thought.
Yeah. And I saw Zach's here in the chat dropping some breaking news. Apparently, we're moving our engineering headquarters to Texas in response to Tesla. Luckily, I'm not on the engineering team.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Well, I think most of our engineering team is in Texas, actually.
But we've got some other Tesla news, including some that's got me really excited. Now, I will remind the uninitiated viewer that I live very far from the nearest public fast charger. I do just charge at home. It works fine. But previously, as of like mid-January 2023, I lived about 30 miles from the nearest public fast charger. That's not that bad, right? But then they decided to knock that one offline for 4 to 6 months while they rebuild the gas station it was located at. So guess what, Justice? I am now 95 miles from the nearest DC fast charger. That could all change if Tesla does indeed open up its network to guys like me. I drive a Hyundai Ioniq 5. And we've got some interesting images. I don't know if you have those handy, but the Magic Dock has been spotted at an actual public DC fast charger, a Tesla Supercharger. Now,
and they were testing a Rivian, right?
Yeah, they were testing their new Magic Dock with a Rivian.
Yeah.
Zach, if you're still with us, I know that just tickles you silly that they've decided to call it a Magic Dock, but we don't have to get into that. He mentioned that last time in the chat. I don't know if you caught that, Justice.
I did not.
But yeah, it's being installed at least some Supercharger locations, and I've got a Tesla connection. He's the regional service technician for Superchargers, and I shot him a quick message today. I said, hey, give me some updates. What's going on with the Tesla Supercharger network opening up to guys like me? And he said, although he's not directly involved, he's got people on his team in my region that are already trained in how to install the Magic Dock at Superchargers. So it's happening. And it's happening in my region, which making me excited. And then I tried to poke a little further, see what kind of details he might know. And I said, well, how much are they going to charge me? I want to use the network. Are they going to charge me like 75 cents a kilowatt hour? And he said he's heard that it's going to be just a few cents per kilowatt hour more expensive than you Tesla people have to pay.
We all know it's going to be 69 cents. I think you were the first one to say that, Justin.
I did say that.
It's going to be 69 cents. We all know Elon Musk. It's not going to be $4.20, so it's going to be 69 cents.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not paying $4.20 a kilowatt hour. Nope. But I would pay 69 cents a kilowatt hour. So, yeah, the Magic Dock. How does it work, Justice? It's basically a Tesla charge port, or what would you call that? Charging connector?
The cable.
It's a Tesla charging cable, but whenever it's a non-Tesla vehicle, the other part like snaps onto it automatically.
Yeah. So if I don't know, how to share my screen. It's the one thing I haven't done. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Let me see.
Down at the bottom.
Yeah, you hit present. Even I know how to do this.
I know. That's why I didn't want to say it. I feel so.
You'll have to send Justice your flashcards, right?
Yeah. Let me see.
And then you click inside your screen that popped up.
Yeah.
And then you hit share.
Look
at that.
So there we go.
It.
So you see it's right here. You see this big old giant thing right there.
Yeah.
That is the CCS charger right there. This is the normal Tesla charger. So you pull up with your Tesla and your app. Of course, they all know that you're a Tesla and you're there, and you pull it out, and just this top part, this will come out and plug in. If you're a non-Tesla owner, you'll hit in the either Tesla app or your other app that you're there, and it'll know to pull out this entire giant CCS adaptation with it, and you plug it in. So it'll know what kind of car you're driving when you pull up and you tell it that you want to start charging, and then you'll just pull the cable out and it'll have the right one there.
Yeah, so this could really be a huge leap forward for electrification, not just for Tesla owners. Tesla owners could pay the price, though, because you're going to have to share with guys like us. But I think if anyone's going to be able to grow their charging network fast enough to handle the capacity that is in demand, it would be Tesla. Got to also keep in mind that as far as I know, no one, not even Tesla, would make money. They would not turn a profit on DC fast charging. But I could be wrong with that, Justice. I don't know.
No, that's what I mean. They're already not making money on this. They require the profits from their vehicle sales to make money. So that's another question I've had with this whole thing is Tesla supports this network with the profits from their vehicles. So if you're opening up to everybody else and that profit isn't coming from there, yeah, they have to charge more. It just has to be. And it does seem like right now, I think I pay 32 cents a kilowatt hour on average. And I know they're not making money off that. They're still losing some of the money. So I honestly, 69 cents a kilowatt hour does indeed sound like the right range there to make some sort of profit or at least not lose money on the venture.
How does the $7.5 billion from the U.S. government impact this?
Well, that's why they're doing it.
Well, and the 7.6 billion is not just opening this, but they have a certain amount of chargers they now have to install and open up as part of the requirement.
Okay.
So there's a big portion of that is expanding the network and opening it to everybody. So it's sort of it's a dual thing. It's not just here's 7.6 billion for you opening up your network. It's you have to correct me if I'm wrong, Justin, but I think it's a 60% increase in up to 2035.
So the 7.5 billion, and there's also some other federal funding that's been allocated. That is not just to be given to Tesla. That is the total amount that will be distributed to basically the bidders who, Tesla is going to be one of the leading bidders who are going to be responsible for installing public fast charging that has requirements with regards to charger uptime, meaning that they can't be broken all the time. They have to be fast chargers, and there are technical specifications for what qualifies as a fast charger. You have to have a certain number of them at each station, and they must be located along what the government designated as alternative fuel corridors. So that means basically interstates and major highways. And then once those thoroughfares get public fast charging, the next level would be unlocked and funding would be allocated to the next level, which would be back roads, smaller highways, stuff like that. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. That's about all I know as far as the situation right now.
How many Tesla supercharging stations, I guess that's what you call them, how many are there nationally already existing?
Is it about 1,000, Justice?
Yeah, I thought it was a little over that.
For the entire country?
1,500 locations.
For the entire country?
Right now, yes. A lot of those are in like California, though.
But yeah, well, So, but locations but their actual charging stations themselves, there's 13,699.
Yeah, at 15,000 locations.
Yeah.
At 1,500 locations.
I mean, 1,500, yes.
Okay, so each location would have multiple chargers then. I'm assuming that's what that.
Yes.
If there's 13,000 chargers, they're located in. So it's what, almost 100 chargers per station.
That's a lot. No,
that's not how it's going to work. I don't know. We'll have to dig into the details.
You have to go out to Vegas for that.
Yeah, no.
I'm just curious because I know that Justice, you have touted Tesla's supercharging network, and so somebody says it's like 10 chargers a station. That's better. That makes more sense.
And that's very dependent. Like all of my Tesla superchargers here in the Sacramento area, have more than 10.
Okay, and at those stations, there's a much greater likelihood that the charger itself is going to be operational as opposed to what we've seen from other charging station networks.
98% uptime. Yeah.
Compared to Justin, like what is it? Electrify America. Whatever.
Yeah. So there's a huge discrepancy in how they measure these metrics. So Kyle Connor of Out of Spec Motoring, he's talked a lot about this. As of now, companies like Electrify America, EVgo, ChargePoint, Blink, they notoriously report charger uptime based on whether or not you succeeded at all. So if I plug in and it says charging error, reconnect, and I have to do that 3 times and waste 5 minutes of my life trying to get it to connect, but I eventually connect and get charged, they consider that a charging success, and that does not go down in the books as a failure.
Gotcha.
That's a problem, and
Yeah.
there's a big movement out there to get that fixed for these federal funding requirements, right? But I mean, I've used Tesla superchargers whenever I've hung out with my Tesla friends, and that sounds really fancy and highfadoodle, doesn't it? But the
You
Tesla
paid for
supercharger
more
network
for
is not
yours than
like
I paid
that.
for mine, Justin.
You just plug right in, and you literally don't have to worry about it with the Tesla supercharger network. I think a lot of that is preventative maintenance. The stuff doesn't break because they fix it before it breaks, and it's no surprise Tesla, they're software kings, and they're going to be bringing the best software to their network.
Justice, I need to ask you a question based on part of Justin's answer. When he hangs out with his Tesla friends,
Tesla friends.
as a Tesla owner, a multiple Tesla owner, how do you feel about other electric brands? In other words, do you look down your nose at non-Tesla owners and kind of when you're not acting friendly to your non-Tesla electric owners, you scoff at them?
Well, first off, when have you ever known me to act friendly to anybody, Ray?
Well, I that's why I thought this was really more of a hypothetical.
Yeah. So hypothetically, those other owners out there, no, I think Justin and I are both in the same camp on this, and you know, I don't want to use the E name, but I will, as Elon is. Any electrification is good. Any movement forward and cleaning of the air and the grid and everything else is good. So I definitely don't look I steer people towards the Chevy Bolt all the time. It does not work for me in my lifestyle because I take so many trips down to Los Angeles, and it's a 400-mile trip. But for people who just drive locally, people like you, Ray, who don't drive much at all, I steer them to the Bolt all the time. I don't have a problem with really, I don't steer anyone to the Leaf right now.
Yeah.
But short of that, no, I love the Ioniq 5. I love seeing all the EVs out there. I think the Tesla sort of, for lack of a better word, arrogance thing that people think about, I think that was in the beginning, maybe when it was just the Model S and X. So yeah, when you had $120,000 cars, I think that comes with any $120,000 car. If you buy that Mercedes, you kind of look at the the Fiat owner and go, that may just be that mentality of the people who buy those. But I bought a $28,000 Tesla, so what do you want me to say? I don't have anything there. I love to see the electrification and the future coming, bit by bit by bit. So and I don't know any owners that don't feel that way. I don't know any S or X owners, but all the 3 and Y owners that I talk to all the time. By the way, going to a Tesla charging station can be a very social outing where you all just sort of chat and talk, or you can stay in your car and watch,
whereas
Zoom or
at an Electrify America station, it's very social because you have to troubleshoot together and figure out how to get the damn thing working. That is true. But no, seriously, at I don't know, out in the public at stores and shopping centers and whatnot, I've had Tesla owners come up to me and tell me how much they like my car and how they're excited to see new EVs hitting the road. You know me, though, I never forget the importance of Tesla getting us to where we're at today in the electrification of the auto industry. Whether you like it or not, Ray, Tesla has definitely gotten us to where we're at.
Yeah.
And now the rest of the industry is scrambling to figure this out. But I think competition is the healthiest way forward. That's going to be whether you're talking about electric models or charging networks, right? You need a diverse number of options out there in order to keep everything in line and consumer focused, because as long as consumers have options, hopefully consumers are going to be using they're going to be talking with their money, right? And giving their money to the EVs that are going to be best, really. And right now it's largely Tesla, but there are some good competitors arriving on the scene, like my Ioniq 5.
There's some great EVs out there. Absolutely.
Yeah, I was just curious if there was, any of that looking down your nose at non-Tesla owners, because obviously the early adopters were Tesla, and sometimes I equate things like an early adopter to a Tesla, like going to your area's most expensive restaurant. And so you go, and it turns out that the food's not good, but you spent $300 for the two of you to have dinner, and you're never going to admit to your friends that, well, for $300 the food wasn't good. So so I just wonder if there were early adopters who bought Teslas who would never admit that maybe those first Teslas weren't really all that good, because they spent all that money to get them. But that's just the way my crazy mind works.
Well, speaking of early adopters, oh no, we lost Ray. Speaking of early adopters, there you are.
There he is.
I saw some comments in the chat.
You're muted, though.
Some people thinking about whether or not they should take the dive into an EV, thinking about full electric, thinking about plug-in hybrids, or just traditional hybrids. And here's what I got to say. You should test drive one, whether it's a Tesla or something else. Because chances are, if you test drive one, you're going to fall in love with driving electric, because I care about the environmental impacts and whatnot, and a sustainable future eventually getting there. I know it takes quite a bit of work to clean up that whole supply chain. But when it comes to the driving experience, I think nothing comes close to driving an EV. Now, once you get to that point, you also got to think about how much of an inconvenience would it be to go electric in 2023. Ideally, 10 years from now, it wouldn't be an inconvenience at all. But right now, there can be inconveniences, especially if you live in a rural area like I do, or if you just simply don't drive a Tesla. At least until the Supercharger network opens up, charging is not the easiest thing in the world. Then you got to decide, is it worth the inconveniences? I made this decision for myself and for my family, and I have never regretted it. I love driving electric. I love the Ioniq 5. There are times where it's a pain in the butt, like when the only charger within 30 miles shuts down for 4 months for renovations, right? That's stupid. But I just love the silence, the quiet acceleration, the sportiness of the car. Not paying for gas. You've got to think about your own situation and your own needs, and if it would be worth it. That's my spiel for the day.
And Justin, you charge at home every night, right? On a trickle charger?
Yep. It's very slow, but it's good enough for my needs. And we do drive, my wife and I combined, about 30 miles a day, because we never use our other vehicle anymore. We should just sell the damn thing. We just take turns driving the EV because it's so much more pleasant to drive in. Even though it only adds like 30 to 40 miles of range per night, it's enough for us.
Interesting.
And then, back to Ray real fast, I would say, as far as looking down your nose at other EV drivers, it is not as bad as when you're in a group chat and somebody has a little green bubble. That is much worse, and you look down your nose a lot more at the green bubble people than you do at the other EV drivers. I'll put it that way.
What's a green bubble person?
iPhones versus Android.
That would be you, Ray. Oh. You're a green bubble person.
Oh, okay. Well, there you have it.
So iMessage versus everyone else.
My theory is, as long as I'm not a snot bubble, I'm okay.
Well, I also want to chime in here because it drives me insane when I see, typically on online forums, not the very friendly CarEdge community, but like Reddit and whatnot, Twitter, where people are just saying everyone needs to hurry up and go buy an EV. buy an EV, do it now, do it because you love the planet, hurry up and do it. EVs are expensive. Prices are getting incrementally more attainable, but we cannot be expecting everyone to run out and spend $60,000 on a car. That's just stupid. So I wish more EV drivers, not just Tesla drivers, but others too, would keep in mind that cars are typically the second biggest purchase a consumer will ever make. And that's not a decision that you can just make on the fly, and you shouldn't do that. And yeah, affordability is an issue.
If I may, someone who spent 43 years in the car business, even though that's not a decision that should be made on the fly, it happens to be made on the fly, I don't know, a couple hundred times a day across America.
I believe it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, people don't often think about the purchase until, about 30 days later when their first statement comes through. Then they think about it.
Yeah. So I just want to say, sorry, George, if you feel like you were put on blast. Justin was actually speaking to that point. That's why you got up there. But yeah, it's it depends on your lifestyle. And for T455 here, I live in an apartment. I no longer have access to a charger. I really don't have a problem with it. So again, it's sort of a lifestyle thing. I think we've talked about it a little bit here and there, but sometimes I do choose where I shop on whether they have a charger there or not. And, luckily my local Target here has some. So if I need to go buy something, if I had to choose between Walmart, which does not, or Target that does, I go over to Target, I plug in, I do my shopping, I come out, and I go about my way. I know we talked about the movie theaters, which, Ray, I did not get to correct you on that movie theater one. I would never go to a movie theater in a large shopping center. Those theaters just don't have the technology that I require as a moviegoer. All of my movie theaters are freestanding.
I do have a question for the two of you. Are we seeing more and more large retailers, Target, Walmart, others, say to the shopping center owner, if you would like us to be a part of your shopping center, we would require X number of electric vehicle chargers in front of our store? Is that an ongoing thing?
Could be over in the West Coast, because it sure isn't where I live.
Yes, California is actually starting to require this in many jurisdictions. The governor is taking up a bill later this or next month that will address this. It will be part of new construction requirements to have X percentage of charging stations in your area. They are targeting low income and underserved communities first. So that is in place in most areas already right now. So for the apartment dwellers and things of that nature, California is already starting to make these requirements.
Could you see Target or Walmart creating their own EV divisions? Like Electrify or Liquefy America, whatever the heck it is, or Easy Go or EV Go or Plug Me In or whatever. I mean, could we see large retailers like that create their own charging station networks?
I want to chime in here because we could, but here's why I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Right now, Electrify America, for example, or the Supercharger network, all of those charging network operators, they pay rent to whoever's land that they're on. So Electrify America, they're mostly at Walmart locations around the country. You got some at Target and other locations. They're paying Walmart rent. So technically Walmart would be making a little bit of money off those chargers being there. And not to mention, more people are going to be going in the store to shop because that's where the charger is located. So maybe in the future, but not in this decade. I don't think that's going to happen. Do you have a different take, Justice?
No, I think that certainly the rental model works. But I do see larger corporations like a Target seeing that as secondary revenue stream possibly. I think what they want to see first is some sort of standardization in charging ports before they put it in. Because right now they have to decide, do I put in a CCS? Do I put in a CHAdeMO? Do I put in the Tesla? What kind of connector am I going to put in, in my area? I know down in LA, there's a lot of Tesla chargers in a lot of public areas because that's, the predominant EV down there. Well, actually, it's predominant EV in California. Actually, Model 3 and Model Y were the best two selling vehicles of any type, and not just EV, in California last month. Wow. So, here, I think it would just depend on if we get some sort of standardization or not. On if that happens, I know it is a big thing. Most malls here have quite a few charging stations now. Actually, I don't know any mall that doesn't have quite a few charging stations now. And I think that's the thing when Elon, if he ever opens up his restaurant charging station, like he keeps saying he's going to down in Santa Monica, I think that would move a lot of people because to me, it makes most sense in a restaurant setting. If you're going to go out to eat and you're going to sit there for 30 minutes to an hour and a half to eat, then sure would be nice just to plug your car in.
Here's another question, if I may. I don't know why I have all these questions today, but I do. So California is going to require charging stations in new shopping centers, things like that. When you look at a mall, malls have thousands of parking spaces. So in order to sustain some type of growth rate for EVs, what percentage of parking spaces will they require to offer charging? Just out of curiosity, if anybody knows, if they've come up with, if actuarials have looked at it and said it needs to be 40% of all parking spaces have to have charging capabilities, or 20, whatever the number is. And Justin, I saw you raise your hand.
Yeah.
So I'll make like a school teacher and go, Justin, you wanted to share something with the class?
Well, I'm going to cover my ass first, okay? I'm going to start out by saying that we have addressed last Friday that charging for multifamily housing is an issue that needs to be addressed, and this is not going to be the solution. You can't just expect everyone to go hang out at Target or Walmart to do their charging, right? So we're going to set that issue aside just for the moment. Okay. I want to say that to help get towards an answer to your question, Ray, there's a bit of perspective I want to share. The federal funding, all of that federal money we're talking about, maybe not state money because California, they've got that whole thing going on their own, but federal money, it's not going to be going towards these types of chargers in the 2020s, at least not in the next 5 years. Okay. That is going to be going towards DC fast chargers at highway rest stops, things like that, okay? We're talking about level 2 chargers, which are going to be, they're already becoming much more common at shopping centers nationwide. In California, it's a whole different universe. They're already everywhere. But why are we going to see such an ease of installation when it comes to these level 2 chargers at shopping centers? It's really coming down to the cost, because you can install a level 2 charger, which adds, I don't know, Justice, how many miles per hour? Like 30 to 40 miles per hour in a level 2 charger?
On the lower end, yeah.
Yeah, okay. It probably is more like 20 to 30. This is opportunistic charging. It's not meant to be anyone's main lifeline for their charging. But when it comes to the cost, a level 2 charger costs anywhere between $2,000 to maybe $5,000 to buy and install. Okay, it's not cheap. It's not for the average Joe to go out there and pay for, but it is not. It's a drop in the bucket for a massive corporation who wants to bring people with EVs into their shopping center, right? So if you're looking at a level 2 charger for $2,000 to $6,000, and you're comparing that to $50,000 to $100,000 for a fast charger, corporations are not going to be blinking an eye at the opportunity to bring more consumers in with these level 2 chargers, because they could install a decent number of them for under 100 grand, as opposed to installing one fast charger that everybody has to share for the same amount of money. Now, with regards to how many are they going to need, that is not a part of any federal mandate when it comes to level 2 chargers. That's going to be a more state specific thing, where you've got the whole group of California Air Resources Board states. There's like, what, 11 of them. Virginia backed out. But those states are the ones that have these strict requirements. And Justice, do you know anything about that? Because I don't. About as far as like, is there a rule? How many do they have to have at the shopping centers?
Yes. So I happen to know that the California Green Energy Services has a bill, CG 4.106.4.2.1.1, specifies that it must be 10% of the parking spaces in new construction and this is not for shopping centers yet. I can't find that. This is for residential units of 20 units or more.
Okay, so that's a important step forward. That's really interesting. I'm quite confident that for shopping centers it wouldn't be 10%, because that'd be a massive amount of chargers. But yeah, that's interesting.
At some point, aren't we going to need a massive amount of chargers, or is it just going to be that people are just going to need to charge at home?
The solution is to be able to charge where you live, whether that's a single family home or multifamily. That's the solution. It doesn't work without that.
No, I agreed completely that the EV lifestyle is a charge at home lifestyle. When I was able to plug in here, like, I almost never went to a supercharger ever. It just wasn't a thing. You just wake up every morning, your car's charged, and you get in and you go, and you never stop, and you never do any of that because you're just doing it every night. So unless you're on a road trip, and, a relatively significant one, you don't really even worry about where the chargers are or anything else. And you don't really worry too much about preconditioning your battery and all that. Things that you do have to worry about, that I am now actually dealing with now that it's I'm going to say cold, but everyone knows I mean California cold here. And the battery's cold in the morning. It was 31 this morning. And so, like, I did have to pay attention to, okay, so I'm going to go grab breakfast. How much charge do I have? Because I'm going to be hurting my battery and my range quite a bit by driving at 31 degrees without preconditioning my battery.
What when you say preconditioning your battery, what does that mean?
It means heating it up and getting it ready, because the lithium-ion batteries don't work well in the cold. They just don't. So you need optimal temperatures. You need normal California temperatures for it to run at peak efficiency. So I lost 2% this morning on my battery driving to go get breakfast and back, and I usually only lose 1. So so it is a consideration. If I was low on my battery, I would be like, where do I want to go? So as we say all the time, as Justin has said, those in a cold environment, it is a consideration to think about, and whether you are able to keep your vehicle garaged and charged overnight is a big play there.
And different battery chemistries are impacted by the cold in very different ways. Off the top, I don't remember which ones are best, which ones are worst. But that is one of the kinds of considerations that someone thinking about buying an EV in Michigan, for example, would have to keep in mind. And let's not act like this is a huge pain in the butt, because before EVs came along, there were nuances to the way that people buy a car and, the mechanics of a vehicle. There are nuances to that in the combustion side as well. It's just a different way of thinking.
Do you think, I'm full of questions. I want to throw one more out at you, at both of you. Do you think in the future, new homes being built, especially in colder climates, that part of what will become standard in new home construction would be heated garages with charging?
I don't know, Justin. I don't think you need heating, right? I think just even a garage in like even in your climate is enough.
Yeah,
Right.
that's not going to be a requirement at all, because we're also thinking about regulations that would materially affect um, what's going on, let's say 10 years from now. And if this was implemented today, they wouldn't enforce that for at least 6 to 8 years, right? 6 to 8 years from now, we already know because of what's coming out of the lab and into the industry, battery chemistries are going to be so much more improved versus what we have today, that batteries are guaranteed to be performing much better in the cold just a few years from now because of what's making it out of the lab. So innovation is really helping to ease the pains of those who live in cold climates, and that shouldn't be overlooked.
Okay,
Yeah.
very cool.
Things are
And
changing.
Ray, this comment is for you. Yeah, new homes have to have solar panels here too.
Wow.
That's a requirement of new construction in California. As we greenify our grid, last July, I think we hit 120% of our power was from renewable green energies here for the month of July. So, we have a lot of those requirements. You add in some battery storage and, you're charging for, a few pennies a kilowatt hour here overnight, and it's a different lifestyle. It just is a different, some of this is perception, I think, because you lose miles per gallon in the cold than you do versus in the warm climates. You lose miles per gallon when you tow something, but nobody's really ever pays attention to that because there's gas stations everywhere and this and that, whereas an EV sort of gets this hyper focus on it because people do watch their range, all that, like you're just driving and you're watching. By the way, if you own a Tesla and you have it on miles, stop, turn it back to battery percentage. The miles are not accurate. They are EPA rated and not what you are actually getting. So turn that off and go back to battery percentage. That's more accurate.
The miles are incredibly accurate in the Ioniq 5, must say. Incredibly accurate. It's impressive how they did that. I would say definitely better than Tesla's guessometer for miles prediction.
Yeah, you can go into your screen on the Tesla and see what you've done in the last 30 miles, and it'll tell you, and that's roughly what you should be getting. But up by the battery, that miles, that's the EPA estimated. That thing's garbage. Don't use it.
Well, I know we're probably about to go. I want to make sure and mention, if you guys are thinking about buying a car, whether it's an electric vehicle, plug-in hybrid, or a good old combustion-powered vehicle, we've got a promo going on right now, 30% off of CarEdge Coach. So if you want to work with our wonderful coaches, Justice, you're a wonderful coach. You save people thousands of dollars every day. We've got a great deal going on, so we'd love to help you out. Guaranteed to save lots of money. And I've got an interesting article coming out on the CarEdge blog later today about proof that you can actually negotiate EV prices in 2023. We didn't say that in the past. Things are changing pretty quickly. So, yeah. What's that, Justice?
I negotiated $10,000 off my first pencil on my Model 3. So,
wow.
And then another 5 on my trade. But yeah, you absolutely can negotiate on especially used prices if you know what you're looking at and talking to.
Yeah, and we've got an EV newsletter that goes out with fresh content right here at CarEdge. So if you haven't signed up for the EV newsletter, I don't spam you at all. I just send you the latest info and need to know news from the EV world. You can sign up for that at caredge.com. Hope to see you there.
Very cool. This was
Ray?
Today.
Yeah, I thank you very much for all of your questions, Ray. This is, that's great for the news show. I love all the questions and having to go look stuff up live on the air.
Well, I apologize for that.
No, that's good. I love learning.
So. I love the questions.
Well, yeah. For someone like me, who I think everybody understands has a limited knowledge when it comes to electric vehicles, these are almost like lifestyle questions that pop into my mind, and I can't think of two better people to bounce them off of than you two. And I don't mean for you to have to start searching on your computer in the middle of the show.
That's the fun part.
No, that's the fun part. I love getting the questions I don't know the answers to.
I hope the audience, shares in some of those questions and finds some value in the answers that we're able to provide. So I want to thank you guys for adapting on the fly to all the silly ass questions I might have had today.
No, again, thank you for having the questions. We really appreciate it. As I love these shows. I love all of our shows, the contentious ones and the ones where we all just get to learn and talk together. So we love that. Ashley here is also one of our amazing coaches. She will be on Wednesday with us.
Oh, awesome.
Ray.
Okay.
And I have no idea what the heck we're going to talk about, but she's going to be with us. Yeah, she's going to be with us on the 1st, and you'll get to hear her thoughts. She's been in the industry for a long time, and as well. So we'll find out. So thank you very much, everyone, for being here. We'll be back on Monday with Miss Kimberly Klein, talking about if the EV lifestyle is for you. So we'll delve into a lot more of these questions again, because Kimberly lives out near you, Justin, right? In West Virginia, up in the snow. Well, it's all near you over on the East Coast.
Relatively
you guys are like
speaking.
5 minutes apart from each other. Please, our whole state is bigger than that whole, whatever. So yeah, she's near you in that respect. But she's up in the snow and the cold, and I know she likes the Model X. She may not appreciate me outing her like that. But
I did not know that. That's breaking news.
She does. She likes.
I'm going to send that to TMZ.
So we'll be discussing if the EV lifestyle is for everyone, and if you should be waiting, or if you should just stop living in the past and move forward. Right, Ray?
Exactly. Yes. Exactly.
And I'll be back next Friday.
Yes, you will.
I'm back next Friday with Justin for all the EV news you can use. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody, for being here.